I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Entire hour. Are you pouring coffee? Daniel, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
told me that you're 2 minutes away. When are you going to be
In
here?
like five minutes.
5 minutes?
Daniel?
Mm-hmm. Oh! Ladies, we're ready.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Congratulations. When are you due?
Good day with Daniel Bennett.
Good day. Welcome to another episode of Good Day. My name is Daniel Bennett, and I know what you're wondering. What's the deal with the little piggy next to the camera? I have no idea. I think it's the mascot for the show, so we'll have to look into that. We don't have a name yet either, so we're probably gonna have a contest, or I don't know, we're gonna have to figure out a name for the little piggy. But I'm glad to have you join us today. It's gonna be a really good episode. And I'll start off with a quick little story about my kids. So my wife, a few days ago, she was making cookies from scratch, some chocolate chip cookies at home. And she noticed my 2-year-old had his whole hand inside his mouth. And she's like, what? And she looked to the side and she found that he'd found the bag of sugar, and he was just eating handfuls of sugar and shoving his whole hand inside his mouth. And so she took that away and he just said, yummy. And then he's just bouncing. He had the hugest smile and he's just bouncing off the walls the rest of the day. So careful where you put, I was like, yes, that's literally sugar. But anyway, good times, good times. Yeah, I was gonna say, did he learn that from us? Or we used to eat bags of sugar at home. So in a previous episode a while back, probably a couple weeks ago or so, I talked about how to give good compliments. And so today I wanted to start off by talking about how to receive compliments. And this is something I used to teach here with the students, how to give compliments. And somebody said, how do you receive them? And I said, I've never heard one, so I have no idea. That's out of my realm of expertise. So I had to really dig deep and ask other people. I did a lot of research. I said, what does it feel like to get a compliment? So how do you receive a compliment? How do you receive one well, right? Because a lot of people handle it very poorly when they get a compliment because they're so terrified of being arrogant or something like that. That's why some people are afraid to give compliments, because some people are so weird when they get compliments. So I want to give a few tips on how to receive a compliment, because one of the things that might brighten your day is someone giving you a compliment. And one of the ways you can brighten their day is by responding well to getting a compliment. So the first tip is enjoy it. It's okay for someone to like you. It's okay for someone to be blessed by something that you did. It's okay for someone to think good things about you. That's not arrogance, right? You can be humble and receive a compliment. It does not mean you're proud. It doesn't mean you're going to fall into vanity or something. It's okay. Oh, that's exciting. I can enjoy the fact someone blessed me, right? You shouldn't find your identity in other people's opinion of you. But that's one extreme, right? You don't have to say, well, I can't ever enjoy people thinking nice things about me because I don't want to find my identity in that. That's way over there. You can just enjoy it in a healthy way and say, that's really cool that you like that or that you appreciate that. Right? 1 Timothy 5:18 says, for the scripture says, you shall not muzzle an ox while it treads out the grain, and the laborer is worthy of his wages. Right? Don't muzzle the ox, the laborer is worthy of his wages. In other words, it's okay to be blessed while you're doing something. It's okay to receive money when you're doing something useful for other people, right? Don't muzzle the ox. If someone's serving, it's okay for them to get part of that reward. I'd say the same is true emotionally. The same is true relationally. It's okay when you bless other people to receive a slight reward for that. It's not that you have bad motives. It's just, yes, if you're working, you get wages. If you're an oxen, right, treading the field, it's okay to eat a little bit on the way. So it's not ungodly to be blessed while you're blessing other people. Okay, so again, don't find your identity in it, but you don't have to be selfless. Doesn't mean that you don't benefit from it at all. Selfless means that you're motivated by love for others, but then you can also enjoy the reward yourself. So that's number one, is enjoy it. Number two is be gracious. If someone gives you a compliment, the odds are pretty high it's not going to be a good compliment. Again, that's why some people are hesitant to do it at all. Some people may start off giving you a compliment and it turns into an insult. They may say, wow, you're so good at this. I mean, not good for real. I just mean you're good compared to people I know. And you're like, thank you. They say, oh, wow, your hair looks so good compared to yesterday when it looks so bad, right? There's so many ways that the compliment can go south. It can just turn into an insult, a backhanded compliment, things like that. So be gracious. Assume that they were trying to bless you and don't focus on exactly what they said. Just focus on the fact that they were trying to bless you. Sometimes you just have to kind of ignore the way it came out, the way they said it. So just being gracious with that helps a lot. Number 3, I've mentioned this before, but don't get all weird, right? If somebody compliments you and you say, no, it's not me, it's all the Lord, don't thank me, thank Jesus. And it's like, well, other people sang that song, but you sang it way better than them. So they had Jesus too. Clearly you're part of this, right? So don't get all weird about it. Just say thank you. Is it that hard? Just say thank you. Someone says, wow, you did a great job singing. You did a great job with this. You're so good at this. You look nice today. Whatever it is, you can just say thank you. Again, we've kind of created these weird things where people just act really bizarre when they get a compliment. Just say thanks. Compliments are very relational, right? And that's the key. So my 4th point on that note is compliment them back. Now, it could be a compliment needs to be sincere and genuine. So if you don't know them well or you can't think of anything on the moment to compliment them back with, it doesn't have to be a compliment about them in general. It could be about the moment that just happened. I'll explain what I mean. My wife and daughter were at a store once, and a lady said about my daughter, she's so pretty, like she's adorable. And my daughter said, thank you, that's so kind of you. And that blessed her more than it blessed my daughter. Because my daughter, she didn't just say thank you, she said, thank you, that's so kind of you. In other words, thank you, you're kind for saying that. So that's what I mean by compliment them back. Sometimes if you don't have some other compliment to give somebody, just saying thank you, that's really thoughtful of you to say that, or thank you, I really appreciate that you said that, because again, it's relational. They're trying to be kind to you, you can be kind back to them. Sometimes all you have to do is acknowledge the fact that they were being kind, and that can really bless somebody. And it only works if you're sincere. Super cute when a 3-year-old says, that's so kind of you, right? And so that lady was really blessed by that. So that's kind of what motivated this whole thing, is like, you know what, just say thank you, that's so kind of you. And if you didn't like it, just say thank you. God bless your soul. Anyway, we'll get to the next segment here.
You know, life is tougher than an overcooked $2 steak. But keeping a good attitude, well, that just keeps it all in perspective. How to stay positive in a negative world. Log on to GoodDayGTN.com to get your free copy today.
Welcome back. Our special guest today is Jessica Giaimo. And you do this way more than I do, so you're way more seasoned at this than I am. No. It's great to have you here. So you're in transition right now.
Yes.
By the time this airs, you're in California working with Butch and Julianne Hartman.
Yep.
Right? And so you've been with the ministry here for how long?
About 9.5 years working. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you guys started like right after I started, and I just hit 10. So we've been around kind of the same amount of time.
Yeah.
That's very cool. And then you just mentioned that you were in Russia for 6 months.
Yeah.
And so we'll have to talk about Russia here
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yes.
So what do you, can you share a bit about what you're up to now, or what you will be doing soon?
Right. Yeah. When this is out. Yeah. So we're actually, my husband and I are moving to California to work for Butch and Julianne, and my husband will be doing more work with Butch on his kids' cartoons and shows like that, and I'll be helping Julianne out with her ministry, Healing Journeys Today, which is amazing because so many of those people involved, we did their original Healing Journey story. So it just feels like family already, and it's just amazing. So.
Yeah. How'd you get started in all that? Because I see you all over the place doing different interviews and promos and little videos.
Yeah.
And I think you're not just the host, right? You do stuff behind the scenes too, and the planning and all that. So how'd you how'd that kick off?
How'd that kick off? Well, I came out to 𝗨𝒃. That's a story, but I originally wanted to do broadcast journalism, sports broadcasting.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to do, but felt like I was supposed to go to 𝗨𝒃, and there were no third-year programs, as you know, at that time, very different. And but while I was out there, they opened up their third-year programs, including a School of Media, and so that kind of reawakened that thought of I could be doing this, but for God, and that led to all kinds of things. Russia slipped in there at that time, and then I got hired in the TV department for a brand new project called the Video Newsletter that we were starting.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. Those are actually all still on the website, so it's a long archive of stuff, but that's how it got started. And then it evolved and turned into the AWM Now, and I was on the stories team. That's how I met my husband, actually. And we got to start traveling and get story. It's incredible. It's hard to believe sometimes that that was my job.
Yeah. So you've done a lot of stuff at different locations, right? So what's been your coolest trip you've gone on to film something?
Yes, I get asked this a lot, and for anyone watching,
And your
everyone's
worst
my
one.
favorite, right? Like, but one of the trips that was the most just kind of different and life-changing in that sense was Nepal. Because it was just so different. It was such an adventurous trip and kind of really impacted me very deeply. And so that trip was pretty amazing. And that was the destiny story of John and Elena. That's on the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, all the stuff's out there that people can look up.
Yeah.
And so when you were in Russia, so you said you lived there for 6 months.
Yes.
And that was with Mike and Carrie, I'm assuming?
Yes.
And so what year was that?
That was, I flew out Russian Christmas Day, January 2014.
Okay.
And then I moved back in June that year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there, I think, 2011 to 12, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Somewhere in there, 10 to 11 to 12, I think. Yeah, it was great. So what's the craziest adventure you had while you were there?
Oh gosh, well I know you had some that they told us and to keep us from going out like crazy.
That was the warning story.
Yeah, the warning story. But for me, gosh, one really neat thing that I think happened was we ended up meeting a 𝗨𝒃 Colorado mission team out in a village. So we had to take the trains out to Ijevsk, but we went through Moscow, and so we had a layover in Moscow. And I remember we went out, saw the Red Square. That was really cool. And then we came back, and it happened to be the opening day of the Olympics in Russia.
Oh wow.
That night. And so we were like in this Moscow like train station, and they had a giant screen, and they were playing the opening ceremonies in Russia, and we're like standing with all these international people, and it was just like a really cool feeling. So that was kind of like a really neat experience.
Yeah, I know it's a beautiful country. The huge buildings and everything, and the subways,
Loved
everything.
it.
Yeah, and we were joking because you were saying that you knew the story about me getting stuck on the wrong side of a bridge.
Yes, like Jessica, this is why you follow curfew.
Because it was at the 𝗏𝒗. There was a guy who played saxophone there at midnight.
Oh.
And so I love to just go walk around. And so one night I discovered that. So from where I lived, I could walk to the 𝗏𝒗.
Oh, wow.
And so I could just walk there, and I heard him playing that. So I had some other guys on the mission team who were visiting. And so I was like, hey guys, you got to check this out. So I went with them over there. And when we started coming back, the bridge was up.
Oh no.
And then there were cars waiting, and so everyone's like, yeah, it'll just be like half an hour. So we waited and waited and waited, and finally no one really knew what was going on or how long it would take. And finally someone's like, I think they don't close this, they don't put it back down until 6 a.m.
Oh my
And we're like,
gosh.
well, Well, that's a problem because their flight was the next morning.
Oh my gosh.
And so we're stuck. I think we got stuck like at 10 p.m. And until 6 a.m. the next day, we were wandering around having a lot of other adventures. Finally, when the subways opened up, we were able to get the subway underneath the river to get back home.
Wow.
And get ready for the ticket for the flight.
That's
For the guys. Yeah, but that was fun because we had a lot. I mean, that was a long time. And one of the guys didn't even have a jacket because it was cold.
Oh my gosh,
we were just going to go there and leave. And so, yeah, it was quite the adventure.
Wow. Yeah.
But there's a longer version of that. So what we've got here
Okay.
are the red stack is lighthearted questions and the blue stack is the deeper questions.
Okay.
And so we'll take turns asking each other questions. You can choose either one. I'll start off with red just to
Thank you.
break the
Yes.
ice. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, if you could only eat one type of dessert for a year, what would it be?
Oh, that's interesting because I'm not a huge dessert person. But if I had to choose one, I mean, I kind of want to say donuts because
That's a good
I
one.
love donuts so much. I told my husband like several years ago, I'm like, look, I don't want cakes for my birthday. I just want donuts. So that's what I get now.
That's a good one. Yeah, I'm trying to break my donut addiction.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, it's there's even well, I won't get it. There's a stand-up comedian who talks about, it's like, no, I went out of my way to go get these. Like for a while, every now and then I'll swing by the donut shop in the morning and I'll get donuts. And then I'll get to work and I didn't realize they already had donuts.
Oh no.
And so I don't want to be rude, you know.
Of course not, because you
anymore.
can't show favoritism.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Which category?
Okay, I feel like we gotta make this
Yeah. We'll see.
interesting.
Better be
Okay,
good.
let's see. What's a moment in your life when you felt truly at peace or fulfilled?
I would say, I can't remember the last time I didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, that's excellent.
So yeah. So I would say probably about 11 years ago is when I just consistently started living like that. I'd say before then I had a few months here, a few months there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it just kind of a different way of looking at life and just kind of, I find that getting older is actually amazing because you just, the wisdom
Yeah.
and knowing what you like and what you're about and what you care about and having better priorities and investing in yourself and avoiding situations that used to drag you down and you say, I don't even need that in my life. Getting more intentional with what you sow into yourself and all that. So I'm not saying I haven't made mistakes or anything like that. I'm saying, you know, there's been tragedies, there's been all kinds of stuff that happened, but I'd say it's life's good. It's very good. Should do a show called Good Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Pretty good name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your answer is every day. My
Sorry, I stole the best
right. It's like
one.
an answer, but is it? I would say if I had to choose one day, a day that comes to mind is my wedding day. And I think it stands out to me because, you know, when you're like getting married, everyone is like, oh, it goes by so fast, enjoy it. It's so stressful, right? They say all these things. And I remember like that day going in slow motion and it was just like the most perfect day. There was so much peace and it stood out to me because I felt like it was so different than what everyone was telling me. And I still look back and I'm like, man, that was just such a nice day. So when people are getting married, I'm like, it'll be great. Like it'll be so nice. So
Okay. Well, then I'll give a real, if you say I'm cheating, then
well, yeah, I
I'll
didn't say that, but
I'll say the day my daughter was born because with all three of my kids, it was amazing, but with my daughter, it was amazing and it totally changed who I was because now suddenly I saw myself as a father.
yeah.
So with all my others, I was already a father, but with her, it was a major transformation and realizing like, wow, my whole life I've been the kid and now I'm the dad. And it's like something shifted where I realized like, this is so amazing.
Yeah.
And just kind of, just it's so much fun. So I'd say that was definitely a changing moment.
Yeah.
That I've never seen myself the same way since. Because you also see a different responsibility where you're like, oh my goodness, I can't mess up, you know, I can't take dumb risks anymore. I can't, you know, I gotta like, this is the real deal. Someone depends on me.
Right.
You know.
You can't stay on the other side of the bridge in Russia like that.
Yeah.
You have to get back.
Yeah, unless it happens by accident.
Right. Well, it does happen.
Yeah. So tell me a bit more about this. So you're doing this healing show with Julianne. Can you share a bit more about that? How you got connected with? How did you get to know Julianne?
Yeah. So actually, it's crazy because my husband grew up, you know, watching Butch's cartoons on Nickelodeon and stuff like that, and he actually met them here at 𝑭𝒃 like 10 years ago, something like that. And it's like the last place you expect to meet like your Hollywood hero is like at Bible college. You're like, what? And so they met and he actually got to go help film her healing journey because she was healed of fibromyalgia through Andrew's ministry. And so I got to know them through him once we got married and stuff like that. And yeah, so kind of have done some side projects for them and things like that. But we've had developed a relationship for a while now. Yeah.
That's cool. So, and you're going to be helping, is her show on this network or YouTube or
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So
YouTube
both.
and then also the network as well. So
that's
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Cool. And do you think you'll ever do the sports broadcasting stuff?
You know, it's crazy because we did several years ago a show here at the ministry called Beyond the Game. And so I got to help out with that. And we ended up going down to Florida for the Pro Bowl and the Super Bowl that year. This was 2020, January 2020, before all craziness. And I remember we were, you know, interviewing these athletes. And of course, I'm geeking out like crazy. And we ended up at the Super Bowl breakfast where they were giving an award to, I believe it was Eli Manning that year. And I was there and I remember thinking, like looking at this room and seeing the people there, and I felt like God was telling me, like, you see, like, I can get you where you need to go. You know, like if I had tried going after that career path, I probably would have never ended up in that room. You know, and yet there I was, and I just felt like God was showing me, like, it does not, if you just keep following me, I can get you wherever I need you to go. And it was a really big thing for me because I thought when I came out here, I was giving up all my media dreams to follow God. Because there was no third-year media school, there was no nothing. And to see how God kind of turned all that around was just really encouraging. So I don't know, I don't think I would really want to be in sports, to be honest. But I just kind of have just really learned to trust him in that, like, to see what he's brought me through and what he's brought me to, from, you know, high school in Georgia to here. I mean, I have no qualifications for it, and yet here I am. So
yeah. Even when I was talking with Julianne, she was saying how she really just kind of made it up as she went along, right? Just start doing something. And some things take off and some don't, and just kind of just keep doing things. Just keep trying and going for it. Because I didn't realize that she'd done stand-up comedy.
I know, right? So
and I was like, this explains so much.
It really does.
You guys both, they met doing stand-up comedy.
I think he was like heckling her or something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I was like, and that explains why you guys are such a riot on the stage. So they're a lot of fun. It is really amazing because God had shared something similar with me, that he can do more in a day than you can do in a lifetime of work. He can open up any doors he wants you to go through. So really, you know, in the natural, sometimes we say, I need to be doing more to slowly work my way to my goals. And in reality, it's like, if I just do what's right in front of me with what God's leading me to do, he can just skyrocket you. It's kind of like if you are trying to climb a mountain and God's saying, if you just get in my airplane, we'll fly over the mountain and we'll see life in a whole new perspective. But it's so much about like God's favor of opening the right door at the right time. And even if you hadn't come here, you wouldn't have met Jeff.
I wouldn't have met Jeff.
Everything would be totally different.
It would be completely different. My life would be completely different. But
have you lived in California before?
No, I have not. So it's going to be a new adventure for sure. But I'm really excited. I feel like God gives you a peace and an excitement for what he's moving you into. And that's just something that I'm very grateful for, because I don't feel like he has to do that yet. He does. And so.
That'll be very exciting. I'm sure you guys will still come out here too.
I am sure. Butch and Julianne are out here all the time. So,
I know. When they're back, I'm going to see if they'll do the show again. They're so much fun.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, so let's think about time for another question.
Okay,
so what's a personal experience that's reshaped your understanding of forgiveness?
Oh.
It's very deep.
Blue card, deep question. All right. I feel like that was deeper than mine. Okay. Shaped my idea of forgiveness. I think that's a really hard question.
I'll start if you want.
Okay,
so I thought of one while you think of your answer.
Okay, that'll help.
I know some of these will take a long time to think.
I know, I'm like, how much time?
So my quick answer would be marriage.
Okay.
And parenting's similar because up until you get married, you always can say, I forgive you, but I think I don't want this relationship anymore. The moment you get married, you're saying, I'm committing to forgiving you. I'm not saying there's never exceptions, but it's a totally different shift of, you know, you're not looking for reasons to break up. You're not looking for reasons to disqualify, you know, whatever, or something like that. And you're saying, I always have that parachute that if this relationship isn't going the right direction, I can be out of it. And with marriage, you're suddenly like, no, from now on, if you drive me crazy, I'm going to forgive you. And if I drive you crazy, I'm going to expect, and I'm going to ask for your forgiveness. And we have to work on this.
Yeah.
So it's a different mindset where you're saying, I'm committed to this, and I can't just run away next time somebody gets hurt or offended or something like that.
Absolutely. That's a really good one. And I would say, not to piggyback off you, but I would say marriage too.
Call
but
me a cheater.
Well, I know, right? But for me,
sorry, in the context of the game.
In the context of the game.
Yeah,
well, you did, you did, and now me. So,
right.
But yeah, marriage, like for me too, I heard it explained one way where it's like when you put like metals into a furnace, the impurities rise to the surface, and then you scoop it out, and then you have pure gold, pure silver, whatever. And it's like marriage is like kind of like that, and it's like all these impurities start to rise to the surface, and you're like, where did this come from? And God's like, it was there, there, but you just didn't know it was there. And I feel like when it comes to forgiveness, it stretched me in like forgiving, like say my husband, but also I think forgiving myself. And seeing all these things come up out of me, like insecurities and fears and reactions and things that I didn't realize I had in me. And then having him forgive me and having to forgive myself and being like, wow, like I think that's kind of opened my eyes to a lot of that is realizing how much forgiveness I need. Yeah. And just kind of helps you walk in grace, I think, with other people as well when you see that. Yeah.
Until you commit to somebody long term, you don't see certain sides of yourself because you can always just leave them, right? You can just, I'll quit my job if they don't like me. I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll move away. But the minute you're saying I'm committed long term, it's like there's no easy escape. I've got to deal with certain things. And so certain things, like Pastor Dwayne Sheriff, he'll say that marriage is designed to kill you. and he means your flesh, right? Where it's like it's designed to bring things to the surface so you can grow even more as a person, where like you're seeing each other's blind spots. And so it is a whole new angle where I used to always not resent, but I didn't like when people always said marriage is spelled W-O-R-K and it's the word, all stuff. And I was like, it could be great too, Right. But I think, it's great, but it also is great because it, like you say, it surfaces things that now you say, I didn't realize that was in my heart. Yeah. So it's awesome. Now I get to grow in that area. I get to trust God in a whole new area. Yeah. I know there's sometimes when I first got married, I thought my strengths would automatically become her strengths and her strengths would automatically become mine. Yeah. And so I was saying like, I'm really good at this, so just run alongside me. Yeah. And God was telling me, no, slow down, because you actually need to be patient with each other. And so just because something's easy for you doesn't mean that you should drag them with you. It's like, no, we gotta run together. I'd rather be in unity than just always in conflict. Yeah. Because it's, say like for me, I had an easy time making leaps of faith with finances, and for her she didn't, but she had an easy time with long-term commitment and I didn't. And God told me, don't focus on the ones that you're good at, focus on the ones she's good at. So you can just grow and be challenged and growing in those areas. So I've grown so much since getting married and having kids. Right. Like major life things are such an opportunity to grow. Yeah. Well, when you visit, hopefully we'll see you again. Yes. We're out of time. Thank you so much for doing this. Yeah, thanks for having me. And thank you all for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. So don't forget, today's going to be a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.